Hey YouTube, it's Nicole Moore coming to you from my car. So I had a question. I was I know it's a little dangerous to be just thinking, but I was thinking, um,
Summer, I try to heat. When you bring the sun up, the combo make niggas act up. I pick a gun up.
in this love and hip hop world, is it me or am I the only one who thinks this? But I don't think Love and Marriage Huntsville would survive if Melody Cherie was not on the show. I think that they would do their best. I think they would fill in the blanks, but I don't think that it would go the way they think it should. And I just wonder if you also think the same thing. All right, so we're gonna slide in that direction, and then we're gonna kind of talk about like, well, if she wasn't on the show, what could they do? Who would you want to watch? What would be interesting to see? I think I got a little inspiration from Queen Sheba because she asked and proposed the same sort of questions, and I'm a little, I want to know too. Right now, the cast members are Scott 1.0, Scott 2.0, and that is Letitia, Marcel, Maurice, Kimmy. And then you have, oh my gosh, Tisha, or however we're saying her name, and her friend, who I can't even think of his name right now because they're so insignificant and was not a good ad for the season. You got Sunny, you got Moses, you got Destiny, she's back, and then you have what's her name, Stormy and her husband, and that's it. That's all you have. What do we know about Stormy? Only based on the show. Based on the show, we know that Stormy came on as Melody's friend. They are no longer friends. And Stormy hangs out with Letitia and Destiny, and she knows the new girl, the muscle girl. Well, her and Letitia fell out. They're no longer friends, but they can fake it to hang around and film. Other than that, we don't really know much about her. We see her in her shop, like in her warehouse, packing up orders and doing stuff like that, but there's nothing else. She gave us okay. So she had trouble having her baby. I'm just trying to figure out what her storyline has been and what it would be moving forward, right? All right, so that's all I know about her. We don't know much about her husband at all. She does. And we know that she doesn't have a good relationship with her wife, her mom. So we know that. Now we move over to the people who are the most insignificant of them all. Debatable because there's another set of people who are very insignificant. We have Muscle Girl and the truck driver. I think his name is Ken and Tisha or something like that. Well, their storyline started out with her being married and separated and now in a relationship with another guy. But that's not necessarily why they added her to the show. Somehow, messy producer Carlos King understood and knew and was told there was possibly a relationship that she has had with Martell. And so that's really why she was added on to the show. So that they can kind of explore that and see how deeply they can cut Melody with this information once she finds it out. Okay, so there's that. Other than that, we don't really know, and nor do we care about these two individuals. And there's no need to even bring the husband on because we don't care about the two individuals that he would have to film with. So, sorry. All right. Now you got Destiny. Destiny is clinging to life to this storyline that involves Sunny and Moses, and she just wants to be the victim of all victims. Because even if you were to concede to her and say, yes, I was dating him while you two were still talking to each other, it wouldn't be enough for her. Because after you concede to that, she'd have to go on for a few more seasons saying, see, I told you so. See, I knew. See, I knew. You just wanted my leftovers. See, I knew. Okay, what is the rest of your storyline? What do you have going on? You have this big D energy stuff, and you have these candles. And what else? What's going on in your life? Why are you more hung up on an ex boyfriend than a whole marriage that produced a child that failed? Why we can't talk? I mean, I don't understand. Okay, so Destiny, we could do without Destiny. There's nothing she's giving. She's never gave anything. It's always about her being in somebody else's business. So why is she back on the show? Simply and solely to help Martell dig deep knives into Melody, just to hurt her. That's all it's been. All right, so there's Destiny. Now you got Sunny and Moses. Sunny and Moses could have been a good energy, a good light to bring to the show because they're both business oriented. They're working, they're doing things, in their communities, and they're, trying to get to the bag, which is kind of in the spirit of what Melody was hoping to go for the show. Black entrepreneurs doing the damn thing and they happen to be married. But of course, Carlos King had to take it in a different direction and bring some slime to it and, muss it up a little bit. Well, unfortunately, the way Sonny and Moses were presented on the show caused a lot of problems. And enter Destiny, she's helping to keep that problem stirred up so you never forget it. So there's no way that Sonny and Moses could ever get a fair shake, could ever just film a scene without it being about Destiny, without it being about her and Moses, and how they got together. It's annoying. So we're going to get sick of that if they show us nothing more. And I'm sure they have more to offer, but production is not about it. They just like the drama and the bullshit. And they got to give Destiny a reason to earn her check. All right. Oh, I forgot. Martell is on the show, but you don't really see him that much because he's ruffling some feathers and they're not necessarily filming with him all that often. All right. So now you got Letitia and Marcel. I have heard this. I have thought this. I still agree with it. I would rather have Marcel than I would have Letitia. I don't I don't know what it is about that girl. I don't dislike her. I just think that I don't even think she tries hard anymore. I used to think she used to try hard to be, you know, something she's not, or she felt like she was out of sorts because she was coming from being a stay-at-home mom. And I wanted to give her all the benefits of those doubts. Like I just wanted to see her win based off of what her own personal goals were. But she has a hard time paying attention to her own shit. She's always in somebody else's business. And so she's not personally or professionally growing because she's too busy trying to one up somebody else and failing very bad. So I would rather see Marceau. I would. Marceau keeps things interesting. Marceau is able to come back with good quips. I think that he makes sense some of the time when it comes to other people. And I just feel like Letitia, honestly, at this point, could be what's holding him back. I used to think that it was him holding her back from what she wanted to do, her dreams, her goals, blah, blah, blah. But I think that they hold each other back. But I think Marcel could get a little further if he didn't always have to put out the fires that Letitia kind of makes socially. Now, she definitely, I guess, has the credit, and, you know, I have almost gotten sideswiped like 4 times today. I do not understand it. Like, why can no one stay in their lane? I'm just, I'm not aware of any kind of objects in the road that would cause you to be in my lane. I like my car. I think you like yours. Why would you want to sideswipe? I'm just confused. We're on a highway. Stay in your lane. Anyway, that's what Letitia needs to do. She needs to stay in her lane and focus on her Mila and Miley, whatever product line, and her Mommy and Me podcast, and her whatever else it is she's trying to do with herself. She just is all over the place. And the only time she stops and looks like she has some sort of normalcy to her and some sort of clarity is when she's in somebody else's business stirring up shit. I could do without Letitia on the show. I don't know how you would split the couple up. But I could stomach Marcel much more than I could stomach Letitia. Because honestly, I just wouldn't even know if any scenes she's filming is true or is real. Because she comes across like she's a friend to you, but not really. She just comes across a little fake to me. And even when she started to speak her mind and started to step up a little more in some of the scenes, it still seems very contrived and very. I just don't like it. I would not. I would rather not. I would rather not. Let's see. Maurice and Kimmy. Somebody said this. I also feel this way, and I still agree. Kimmy, when she's not with Letitia, is palatable. We can stomach her. She seems to be more personable, real, down to earth, less fake, less go along to get along, has more of an opinion and personality. But when you get her around Letitia, I don't know what it is, but it's like everybody has to kowtow to Letitia and coddle her because she can't take it, or she turns into the like a she wolf or something behind closed doors. I don't know what it is, but they seem to coddle that girl, and they don't seem to be themselves when they're around her because they're so busy worried about what she's gonna do or say or how it's gonna affect that relationship. So if Letitia's gone, then Kimmy can stay, but I don't know what role Maurice would have because he really doesn't bring anything to the show. He's very much so wallpaper. He's a chair in the room until Marcel and Martel start fighting. Then you know he's there because he's got to break it up so Martel don't tell the rest of their business. That's the only time Maurice is he tried to do the storyline with Monster, and he tried to do the thing with Kiowa, making his wife look crazy. He tried to be that husband that was going to be there for his wife while she went through cancer, failed miserably because he's an ass. Then they tried to make this whole, sex maniac, let's go speak to a sex therapist thing work, and we didn't care. So Kimmy can stay, Marceau can stay, but I would say Maurice and Letitia, we don't want it. Thank you for your services. And then we have Martel. Oh, Martel. Martel, I'll be honest with you, he is good TV. You know, um, he's lying 9 times out of 10, trying to just put shit together and slap it against the wall to see if it'll stick. But it's kind of entertaining. Unfortunately, his storyline has become, and it has always been, honestly, Melody. You know, and if Melody's no longer there, what does Martel talk about? Well, I'll tell you. Martell starts to just reinvent himself because there's no one there to check and balance that Negro. Because there's no one there to be like, nah, that's not how I remember it. Nah, that's not true. He would be on the show just saying all kinds of random shit that isn't true, but because there's no one there that can say it's not true or stick up for themselves, like Melody, it would just ride. And he would just reinvent himself as the good guy, as the guy that unfortunately had to go through a divorce, but it was mutual. He would just flip the whole situation as if all 8 seasons didn't exist. It would be as if he's starting from season whatever this is, 8A or whatever the fuck this is. And it would be like you're talking to a whole new person. He would then find a reason to be able to keep the kids on air, film with the kids. Oh yeah, no, it's okay to film with the kids now. There's nothing wrong with it. They could be on, yeah, because they're gonna film with you, and you're gonna make it seem like you're just this perfect father. And oh, I don't know where her mother is. Melody, yeah, she's off doing something. I don't know, and it's just gonna be a shit show because even with the woman not on the show, you guys are still going to throw daggers at her and shade her. And unfortunately, at that point, she won't be there to defend herself. And that's what I think is going to happen if he stays on the show and Melody is no longer on the show. She won't have a platform to keep things even so that he doesn't just roll off with all the nonsense that he would want someone to believe is true about him when it is not. Now, does everyone have the right to start over and reinvent themselves? Yes, they do. However, not at the expense of others. If you get it out the mud and you do it all on your own and you just, you know, come up in that respect, cool beans. Nobody can fault you for it. But if you constantly speaking well of yourself but throwing the mother of your child under the bus, see, Melanie don't talk about you. She don't bring you up. It's like you don't exist. That's a Scorpio thing. We can just erase you out of our life, our thoughts, our mind, and you will never enter or penetrate again. And for the fact that you have kids with each other, that's the only reason why there's a glimmer of you on the horizon anyway. It's because of those kids. Let those kids get 18 or have graduated college. You won't exist. Wait till they are old enough to say, hey, no, I don't want to go see daddy today. Like, I'm good. I just want to go hang out with my friends. Because that's what they're going to do as teenagers. They're going to want to keep this visitation thing up. As soon as they get some friends and they get a life that they want to go out and live, they're going to want to go back and forth between the two of y'all. They have their own life, their own friends. They're going to want to do their own thing. And wait till they get to college. See who gets the most phone calls. Marta, they're not going to be calling you. You can't do nothing for them. Nothing. They need help with their schoolwork. They need a tutor. They need books. They need money put on their account so they can, eat. What can you do for them? They ain't going to call you. Why? So you can call Mel? You can say, hey, Melania called me and she said she needed some on her books. I would do it, but no, you wouldn't because you ain't got it. And you ain't got it because you're not focused on your shit. You're so busy worried about Melody. And that's what we would get. We would probably get just him continuously talking about Melody, who wouldn't even be on the show at that point. You think he's going to bring Ariane onto the show, but he will not bring her onto the show. He'll bring the son on. He might do that, but he's not going to bring Ariane onto that show. I doubt that very highly because it affects the fact that he wants to be a ladies' man to all the other ladies that are out there. And she's not rich enough. She doesn't have anything to offer. That little measly paycheck that he thinks he could take from her while she films, if he allows her to, it won't be enough. It won't be enough. Now, Ariane, she would have a storyline because she knows Stormy, and Stormy could introduce her to Tisha, and they could have a little, girls thing. And she's got her little boutique she's trying to get off. Like, she could have a storyline. She would have to, get over that, like try to win over people in regards to how she came into the picture as a paramour, if I'm going to keep it respectful, but people don't like Martell so much that they would be willing to be like, if she just apologized, I made a mistake, like I was young and I just really thought that, you know, he was into me and that, I really thought young girl stuff. That if he was, I even said it. If he, if you got somebody chasing you for 5 years, blah, blah, blah. Like, I really thought that he was going to leave his wife for me and that we were going to make a true family out of what we had. I didn't want him to leave his kids. I want him to have a relationship with his kids. But, he was telling me that things with his wife were not good and that, blah, blah, blah. Like, if she appealed to the audience in that way and it seemed genuine and she really did stop messing with Martell, I think she could be redeemable and she would actually have a storyline. We wouldn't want to see Martell's ass, but we could probably see what's up with her a little bit, you know? But I don't see it for Martell. I think he would just get on there and start reinventing himself as if we didn't see for the past 8 seasons how much of an asshole he was. I don't see what else he would do. So I think that's everybody. Do I want to see Tiffany and Big Lou come back? Only if Tiffany is in a healthy space after having her baby would it work out. But I would like to see what Big Lou is doing for Stormy, how he's helping her. I think that I don't know if it would survive if Melody wasn't there. There's too many things that these cast members do not want to talk about that we already know is a thing and we want to know about, that what they want to talk about and tell us isn't as juicy, it isn't as entertaining, it isn't as interesting as what's already going on social media. Like, a lot of these people are in lawsuits or have just settled lawsuits, and it's like that. That's an interesting aspect because it involves it involves fans of the show and it involves the cast member. And it's like, why can't we know anything about that? Why is that being hidden from us? Like, why, you know what I mean? And not that we are deserving to know all of their lives, but what you are giving us is lame. And we're not here for it. We'll change the channel every time. It's lame. What can Melody give us? What would I like to see if she comes back to the show? If you know what I mean, like if they don't win and she is able to film, I would like to see somebody. Oh, we got Nell and Fletcher. Nell, I forgot about them, the Fletchers. How do I feel about them? I think that the more we see of Nell, I think that Nell is flighty and all over the place. I think that she wants to think she is a good friend, but I think that she also wants to be everybody's friend. And that's a very tricky and precarious place to be in because you got to be mindful of what you're saying to these people that doesn't directly contradict or, you know, uh, I just feel like I don't want her to pick a side. I think she can be friends with everyone. But I think that she's got to be mindful of what she says and who she says it to. I think that being friends with Martell and being friends with Melody, if it showed her anything, it was a very difficult position to be in. Martell definitely wanted you to take sides, and you found that to be hard to do. So now you're interacting with all the other girls, and you kind of want to fit in with them too and be invited to their things. So now you're finding that kind of hard to navigate. And I just don't think that you're navigating very well. I don't think you're navigating very well. Fletcher, I think Fletcher is pretty laid back. I think he's just a step above Maurice, where he does just enough to be, considered someone who has some substance. I think introducing their families onto the show gave a little bit of flavor, but then I don't know, somehow producers kind of dropped the ball on that, or maybe they thought that they were going to get their own spinoff show. Um, but I think once again, Nell is flighty and she's all over the place. And you really, as you get to see more of her, you really get to see that her allegiance can waver. You know, the things that you tell her, you got to be careful with because she'll spread your information around. And if she has too many drinks in her, she's liable to go off on anybody. I mean, is that good for TV? Do we want to see more of Nell and Fletcher? I guess we could see what another season would bring with them. I would even give Sunny and Moses another season to see if we can get past this whole Destiny thing. Uh, I would not care to see Destiny come back because I just feel like I don't see what she would bring to the table if she's not talking about Sunny and Moses, and she's not really doing well at promoting her products. So why would she come back? I don't really care to see her dating because I think she's boring, and I don't think that the whoever she's dating would last long. Um, do I want to see Stormy and her husband come back? Honestly, I think Stormy did so much damage to her business being on this show. I just there were so many people who didn't know about her or her business. So in one respect, yes, it did bring more viewers, but those viewers were also lining up to see just just how badly she was handling her business. I think if Kyle hadn't been hired or procured to help her, I think she would have lost it all. We would have just saw it all on the show or in the social media blogs and stuff. She would have lost everything if Kyle didn't come and pick her up and help her. And now, honestly, there's a slight chance that she could still lose everything because she hired a human resources person to help her put people in positions that can help her, but she's still not a very good business person. And so she would need to hire someone who has that business savvy. And Kyle opened some doors for her that she didn't even know she could open. So I think that Stormy would do herself a favor by not coming back to the show and focusing on her business and strengthening it and getting it to a place where no one can question her products, getting the quality of the products, down pat, so that you don't hear rumors of if you order the same thing 4 times, 4 different times, you get something different every time. It's a different smell. Like get your just step up your game. Focus on that. I just think that she would do well to not have so much attention because even if she did something well, they'll celebrate it for 2 days. But if she did something wrong, they'll talk about it for a week. And I just think that I don't think her business can really take much more of that. So I don't think she should come back. And I think if the rumors are true and what she's saying to everyone or alluding to is that she won't be coming back, then I think she's making a great decision. I also feel like, if what Kyle is saying and if what we're seeing is true, where she is constantly buying things that, you know, is super expensive and out of the budget, like possibly using her company funds to do so. She really needs to get that under control. Her husband don't need a new truck every 4 seconds or a boat at that. I'm just keeping it real. It's like when niggas get money, they don't know what to do with it, how to act, and they do the most outlandish shit until they don't have no more money left. And that was the story for her first time around. And now here we go again. She's almost doing it again. Kyle helped her, and then she dropped him like a bad habit after he helped her. Like niggas, why? So no, they shouldn't come back. Should Melody come back? I know everybody likes to say that it's her show and all that, but the show that she pitched was different from this one. And even though they all helped, her and Martell helped pick the cast to come onto the show. The show is really not her show. It's not even her concept anymore. Like it's been changed, it's been flipped, it's been chopped, it's been screwed. It's not even her concept anymore. So I think what she should do is on her own network, Nubia TV, is she should do that. Re- Reintroduce her own concept to the show that she wanted to put out in the first place and highlight. And I would take Sonny and Moses with me because they're actual business people who actually have legitimate businesses that actually draw a profit. And I would do that. I would I would reinsert my original concept and develop a show around that. I would take my goddamn millimeters with me and I would build my network the way it should be and my show the way I envisioned it in the first place. And unfortunately, the drawback to that would be allowing Martell to create whatever narrative he wants if Love and Marriage Huntsville continued without her. That is the risk that you run, and I think that that's probably what keeps her on the show is to make sure that whatever narratives are being, and Martell would have help, you know 1.0 and 2.0 if they're still on the show. Definitely Destiny, Stormy might even add some comments here and there. They would all lend a hand to him creating this new narrative. You understand what I'm saying? Like they wouldn't hesitate to help him fake a new life and throw Melody under the bus at the same time. So I know that that's probably an aspect that she thinks about, you know, um, but it doesn't matter because if you keep your foot on their necks, doing well and surviving, and every avenue that you put your thoughts into is successful while still raising 4 children, while still maintaining the businesses that you have, I don't think that that narrative can survive if you have an opposing show to show them that it isn't the case. You know what I mean? And lies tend to come out in the wash, and it tends to slap the person right in the face that's telling the lie. It might hurt the victim for a little bit, but when that lie comes back, it slaps the person telling it. And the victim typically comes out vindicated, slightly bruised, but vindicated. So, do I think that Love and Marriage Huntsville can survive without Melody? There would have to be a lot of work put into the show. There would have to be some severe cast changes. People would actually have to actually step up and talk about their lives, for it to even get the views it would need. I mean, the fact that Melody wouldn't be on there means that there's millimeters who will leave, and then there's Melody haters who just want something to hate about her and need material too, so they watch the show. They would leave. And anyone that would stay would find a new villain to vilify and to talk about. And that's just how it would go. Do I think Love and Marriage Huntsville should come back if Melody decides to leave? Not really. I don't. Could it survive? It could with a lot of work. But do I think it should? No. I don't think it should come back if Melody is not there. I think it should just be, as a matter of fact, once it was noted that her and Martell got a divorce, I mean, that could have been open and closed right there. There was, there was no need. I guess maybe thoughts of how life after divorce was going to go, how co-parenting was going to go, and if they were going to get along, and if it was going to be toxic, can they, you know, be in the same circle? I guess that was an appeal. But once you saw that it was very toxic and going downhill, and it was time to close up shop, it was kind of like an end scene moment. Just cut it up. Let's wrap it up and be done with this. It's kind of how it should have went. But I don't think Love and Marriage Huntsville should come back if Melody doesn't come back to the show. And if it does come back and Melody is not there, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I'm pretty sure Letitia and Marcel feel like they can step up and fill that void, but we don't really like Letitia like that. It's not that we hate her or we dislike her. There's just something about that girl that's just like, she's just shady, and she just comes across like, you have to be loyal to me, but I don't have to be loyal to you. And, you know, that can get a little old. Like, who wants to, and she whines all the time. Like, oh my God, like, nobody wants that. Marcel Kenny don't even want that. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Let's think about, what if they brought Miss Wanda back onto the show? Bringing back Miss Wanda onto the show without Melody is pointless, because what is she gonna do? Be, you know, complain about Marcel more? We already know he's out there, and now we know for sure that Letitia don't care. So bringing back Miss Wanda does what? It does nothing. It does nothing. And then what about Stormy's mom? Well, if Stormy's not coming back, there's no need for Stormy's mom to be on there. And that was another thing that made Stormy look so terrible. How evil and nasty and maniacal her mother is. Like, that's not something you want to show to the public, how evil and nasty your mother was and is. Like, Stormy just took a L in a lot of areas that gaining some new followers didn't really make up for, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'd like to know what you guys think. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit up that Cash App, because I'm gonna try to get some more equipment and try to do this a little more frequently. So let me know. Let me know what's up down there in them comments. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, it's okay too. Let me know. All right.